You shouldn't assume that just because someone has white hair and wrinkled skin, they've lived a long life. They haven't necessarily lived a long life. They've just existed for a long time. Lucius Aeneas Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers in history, believed that life isn't inherently short, but we make it shorter by allowing the thief of time to steal it. This thief is everywhere in today's busy world, and the biggest culprit is our smartphones. According to a report by Nielsen, a company that specializes in data and social statistics, the average smartphone usage in the US in 2020 was 3 hours and 30 minutes per day. But by 2024, this number has risen to over 5 hours. The scary part is that 70% of this time is spent checking social media. More phone time means less sleep, less leisure, and harder work and planning. The cycle you see in the image is the vicious cycle of the thief of time. And today we're going to break it together. We'll do this with the help of Seneca's book on the shortness of life, which is mostly about time management, and a practical article from Stanford University about using dead time throughout the day. I'm your guide, and welcome to a new video from the channel Power of Words. Seneca says that people are very precise when it comes to their money and possessions, but when it comes to wasting time, precisely where they should be stingy, they're careless. While Seneca believed that time is plentiful for those who know how to live, he also warned that life will be short and full of anxiety for those who forget the past, ignore the present, and fear the future. Essentially, Seneca identifies 3 roots of this thief of time cycle: waiting, lacking the skill of saying no, and not utilizing dead time. Let's fast forward almost 2,000 years and look at the findings of Dr. Anna Lemke from Stanford University. In her book Dopamine Nation, she explains how smartphones have become the most accessible addictive substance for our minds today. We usually prefer instant rewards over long-term achievements, which is why waiting is always agonizing for us, even though we know great things require patience. So, how do we fix this? There's a simple, practical trick: combine important, valuable tasks with instant rewards. You might have seen those videos where kids are tricked into taking cough syrup by mixing it with juice. We need to trick our brains in the same way. This is also called habit stacking. You might already have some of these habits, like eating something sweet or drinking tea after a meal, taking your phone to the bathroom, or listening to music while studying, among many others. Seneca says the biggest obstacle in life is waiting, wrongful waiting. To reduce waiting and avoid brain rot or brain rust, we need to pair our main tasks with a small dopamine reward. This helps our brain gradually get used to the new habit. This way, we can slowly but surely reduce unnecessary phone usage and allocate that time to more important tasks. The less useless information we consume, the more our focus and brain performance improve. Another thing Seneca emphasized is using dead or unused time. With technological advancements, we understand this more than ever. For example, listening to podcasts on the subway or in traffic is a way to compensate for the time wasted by technology itself. While research shows that multitasking reduces focus, there are tasks that don't require high concentration, like cooking, household chores, or waiting for the bus or subway. To understand its importance, let's do a quick calculation. On average, you have at least 2 hours of dead time daily for commuting and similar activities. If you just revive 1 hour of this dead time, it adds up to 360 hours a year. That's equivalent to 5 books or 36 one-hour podcasts. It's incredibly useful, and the interesting part is that whether you do it or not doesn't change your daily routine. You'll still be stuck in traffic or waiting in lines. Just one note: don't read educational books during dead time, as they usually require more focus. Has it ever happened to you that you're ready to chat with a friend about the color of their crush's t-shirt, but avoid your own work? Or maybe even find Channel 4 on TV more appealing? Yes, exactly, the main point is here. We've always been told that lacking the skill of saying no leads to wasting time, but have you considered that maybe we're just procrastinating or escaping from tasks we don't want to do, and that's why we fill our time with others and easily say yes to them? We've previously examined procrastination from many angles on the Power of Words channel, but this perspective we're discussing now is more about self-deception. It's a way of escaping the difficulty of a task we're interested in. This is conscious procrastination. In this model, you're not struggling with dopamine or laziness, you just don't want to be honest with yourself. You fall into the illusion that I have plenty of time, And when things get critical, you panic and force yourself to do it, barely meeting the deadline. And what comes after that? Yes, nighttime revenge. Staying up late because you feel like your day was wasted and you were busy all day. Seneca warns us to be careful not to confuse being busy with being productive. Thinking, I have a lot of work, so I'm productive, isn't the right mindset. We all have 24 hours a day, and it's our choice to prioritize non-essential tasks that take up as much time and energy as essential ones. Then, when we finally get to the important tasks, we're tired and unmotivated, and naturally we trick ourselves with various excuses. We've almost examined all 5 parts of this cycle. Now, how can we implement all of this in a practical method? Let's mention one thing before we get to the solution. Remember that this is a cycle and any part of it can trigger the next like a domino effect. So what's the solution? The sacrifice day method. Yes, exactly, the name is as strange as the results it promises. In this method, you need to sacrifice at least one day to break this cycle. You might say, I'll fall behind on my tasks, but you're already falling behind with this cycle. The key is to consciously tell yourself, I'm sacrificing today. Instead of getting up and doing my important tasks, I'll postpone all my plans for a day, along with my phone, Instagram, YouTube, movies, series, and chatting with others. When you burn everything together, your brain finds it easier to let go. Telling your brain, don't check Instagram today, is torturous, but if you also say, don't study today, it might not be as painful. So what should you do instead? If you can, go into nature or engage in physical activities. Or sit down and write down your worries and mental burdens. Keep your mind and body naturally engaged so that by the end of the day, both your mind and body are at ease and you avoid nighttime revenge. This helps reset your brain and establish a proper sleep schedule. But the important thing is not to let it go afterward. Your brain loves to return to its comfort zone. Seneca says, if you were to die tomorrow, what would you do today? This is the question you need to ask yourself repeatedly during the sacrifice day. If you weren't going to be here tomorrow, would it really matter if you checked the news about the dollar price or which celebrity said what or who broke up with whom? The sacrifice day changes your perspective on life and your real values. After doing it, you need to enter a maintenance phase, as if you've invested in the stock market and are constantly monitoring it to ensure its value doesn't drop. If you can manage 50 to 60% on the first day, do it again after a week. Experience shows that after about 4 sacrifice days, you'll break free from this dangerous cycle. After that, you need to enter a new cycle because, after all, life and our brains need to be in some cycle. The table you see now suggests activities for the sacrifice day that can help you endure the hardships of the first day. This is also called a mind map and a summary of this video. If you found it helpful, I'd be thrilled if you shared it with your friends.